But it is what it is what it is. You know who it is. It's your boy, the Moose Squad. Let's get
on the moves and moves on the loose. It'll be party all day long. It moves on the loose and moves on the loose. What are you waiting for?
What is DMX cable? What is XLR cable? Let's dive into this next episode and let's find out. The link is below. XLR cables are what we use for lighting. The cable's purposes isn't to carry an audio signal. Instead, it carries information or data that will communicate changes between lights and its sources. The independence requires for this is 110 ohms. DMX cables come in 5-pin configurations. It also comes in 3-pin configurations also. But at first it was designed for 5. That way you wouldn't get the 2 wires mixed up. So that's why they made 5 at first. But they went to 3 later on. It's just the way it works. I remember using 5 in high school. And then I remember in college we went to 3. And I remember the whole transition, getting the whole auditorium changed over to 3. It sucked. So we didn't change. I remember we changed half the auditorium to 3 and left the other half 5, which can be done with adapters. That my teacher made. My teacher made like all kinds of stuff. And he made an adapter for the differences. The only thing difference about the 5 is 2 channels aren't being used anyway. So, yeah, regardless of anything, if you notice the difference between wire, the 2 channels are not being used; they're just there. So, what is the features to look for in the DMX cables? Well, when you're looking for DMX cables, the first you want to make sure that the rating is 110 ohms. Then you should make sure, okay, so the difference between DMX ohms is right here in my hand. The difference between XLR ohms is in my hand. So you see the difference? There's like a 35 ohm difference between the 2 wires. So you could probably get away with using them, but you're going to tell the difference because the speaker uses less ohmage than the lights. The lights use more ohms than anything. So anyways, what is XLR cable? Here we go. Well, XLR cable are what most are used for analog features for microphones and interconnections analog, which is a lower independence requirement of cables, and the cables do not have to be rated. Usually, the independence is between 45 and 75 ohms. So if you get this point here we're using DMX. The ohms are 110. So 45 to 75 ohms is not pushing that much. So the frequencies between the 2 of them are just totally different. The most common XLR configurations, the 3 to 5, is primarily the 4-pin XLR cables exist for certain audio equipment like intercoms. Okay, here it is. Can you use XLR cables instead of DMX cables? The short answer is yes. Technically, but in only some cases, in general, is not advised. Here we go. Here's the differences. DMX has a higher independence than XLR. XLR can use a cable used a different signal that DMX built to handle there some instances where you can interchangeably, but again, it's not advisably recommended. If you worked on the world of lighting, like DMX and XLR cables can be confusing at first, especially when you come from an audio background. Don't worry, the answers will come in the questions. Let me explain this to you. Okay, it wasn't hard for me because coming from a technical theater side, I knew the differences already because the teacher explained them when we got our first set of fives. And he went through it. The audio engineer came in and explained. And then we had a lighting engineer come in and explain when I was in stagecraft in high school, the differences between the two of them. There's a big difference. DMX refers to lighting protocol, which is DMX 512, which is a digital communication. The DMX standard it's created in 1986. So I was in high school, right when it came out a couple of years later. Because everything takes time for it to come out. But XLR was all over. Yeah, this changed the game in staging. It changed the game big time. Yes, big time changed the game. DMX refers to the protocol case. I'm reading off papers. I'm not reading off of like I used to. This is research that I've been studying. I've been studying this for a couple of days, trying to get the topic down so you guys get an understanding that this is this important, because Wikipedia is information beyond everything. This comes from HOSA. So if you want to know more about it, you can go to HOSA.com and you can actually look it up. The DMX on the HOSA website. So that's where I got this information from. This comes from HOSA. Okay, so an analog XLR cable is not rated at 110 ohms, which is basic cable construction. So transferring data may experience some interruptions. This means that you might get strobing and flicker lights since the cable isn't transferring necessary voltage. This won't damage the lights, but the signal would be degraded and cause for inconsistencies in the lighting, reference to bad shows. Okay, XLR cables can also have a more rugged build, and the cable diameter may be larger, making it less discreet, bulkier, and heavier than necessary. For these reasons, it's not recommended to use analog XLR cables for DMX lighting equipment. Okay, DMX and XLR applications. On the flip side, you could theoretically use DMX cables as a microphone cable. However, the cables aren't built for the same shielding, so noise interference may cause some issues. So if you ever took apart an XLR cable and a DMX cable on the male end, when you take it apart, you can actually, or the female end, doesn't matter. On the ends, there's a shield. Let's see if I got a picture of that. I don't think I got a picture of it. It looks like this. See the difference? See the shield? So the top one is the XLR and the bottom one is the DMX. You could tell right there that there's a big difference between wires. The only reason I'm not pulling my wires out and showing you that way, because this is a bigger understanding and a lot easier to understand. If I pulled them out, I would totally confuse you. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So, so basically, yeah, you can, but it's not recommended. Conclusions. There's always a good conclusion. It says, as always, the best appropriate cable is the appropriate applications. So using your cables at the appropriate applications is vital. So using XLR cables and DMX cables. Remember to do your research and read the wording on the cables. And when you get the cable, usually DMX will say DMX lighting on it. And you'll see the microphone, a low volt on the microphone wire. So there you go. There you have it. Courtesy of Hoso. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying to get in more depth with topics. So leave a comment below what you thought about the difference between XLR cable and DMX. And we're not talking about this guy right here. He's going to be missed in the world of music. But anyways, leave a comment below. Follow what these guys got to say, which is me, at the end of this video, and peace out.
Thank you for watching. Ring my bell.
Sharing is caring.
Leave a comment below. I like it.
A moves on a lose, a moves on a lose. It'll be party all day long. It moves on a lose, a moves on a lose. What are you waiting for?